Hey, how's it going, guys? So we're back with more Exodus, and if you're new channel, welcome. So literally a while ago, I did watch like about 8 videos of the Exodus, and it was the first time that I ever dived into the videos, into this game, and it was amazing, because I really love Mass Effect. Those are some of my favorite games, and the fact that the people who created Mass Effect are working on this game, that's what pretty much sold me. However, just like looking at the videos itself, I finally got like a little idea like what the game may be about, but however, I need to know the full story. So I found this video that was recommended to me after I watched the last Exodus video, and it is by, I hope I'm saying this correct, Kayla Elizabeth. So shout out and credit goes to Kayla Elizabeth. If I said the name incorrectly, I do apologize. And it is about the full prequel story. It's about 26 minutes long. Now, hopefully this will answer some of the questions that I have in my mind, and if she misses anything or if there's anything you guys want to add, please put it down in the comments below. So with anything else, let's just jump right into it.
Around the year 2200, Earth was suffering from severe climate change, from climbing CO2 emissions.
I can already hear the master music in the background. I see what she did there.
Rising temperatures, and microplastics contaminating the oceans. The planet was dying and becoming uninhabitable. Thus, humans were forced to leave their home behind, and the start of the Exodus began. Governments and powerful organizations began building arks in hopes of finding a new home. And within 2 centuries, Earth was completely abandoned. Not all were lucky enough to board an ark, though. Only those chosen would be able to leave the dying planet. Ships were constructed wherever possible.
It's always the same thing. We destroy our planet, so now we gotta go somewhere else. The Ark, but the same thing, there were like also Ark ships in Mass Effect Andromeda, so it feels like that is like the same idea they got for this game. And when they say not everyone was able to board the Ark and some were chosen, I'm willing to bet that it was the wealthy that got chosen, and maybe like some scientists, researchers, military operators, so people who can actually who can afford it or can contribute the most. Now for this one, Earth's habitability in severe decline. Over the next 200 years, humans from the asteroid settlements construct arc ships powered by entropy drives. These fleets depart the Sol system to search for a new home among the stars. I swear to God, we are destroying our planet.
Over the next 200 years, humans on the asteroid settlements constructed arcs wherever they could, some being constructed in orbit, on floating ocean dockyards, on the moon, and even on Mars. And while these arcs were intended to help humanity find new life, they were also to preserve human history. They contain relics of human life, trying to save whatever remained of our past. But more importantly, the arcs were supposed to contain those who were given the privilege of passage. Global aptitude tests determined who would contribute the most to a new extrasolar colony. Engineers, scientists, logisticians, wilderness specialists, and inspirational artists were some of the favored to get a spot on the arcs. And alongside the chosen, of course, the rich were a guarantee.
Yeah, see,
even
I told
building
you.
arcs of their own, filled with lavish commodities instead of people. These arcs were possible because
so they chose comfort over helping out others. Typical.
in 2070, an entropy drive had already been constructed
Entropy,
as an experimental spacecraft, and this would become the foundation for the arc's designs. Many different arcs were built, and there was competition to both secure spots on the arcs, but also between different contractors. Resources were dwindling, and society as they knew it was collapsing around them. Many were left behind, and many arcs were destroyed by those who resented being left behind. It was a game through and through, and surviving the journey was harder than getting a seat. Many arcs never arrived at the Centauri cluster, and were lost to the void. Some arcs even fell apart, and some lost many of their crew. Some people on the arcs became spares, never even woken from their sleep, but their bodies became vessels for spare organs to keep the engineers and crews of the arcs alive, since they were the only ones who knew how to repair them. Arc life was rough for most, with arc ships falling apart from faulty, decaying construction or severe overcrowding and running out of resources. Some arcs found planets, but they were hostile or uninhabitable for human life. And some of the arcs didn't contain just humans. Alongside humans, Arks also contained robots, AI, and
Pigs.
awakened animals. There were often awakened animals of varying species that helped maintain these arks.
Oh, this is not a
And
normal
these were
pig.
genetically modified animals, created with the intent of fulfilling a job. There were raccoons that could help make repairs, or pigs that worked as security guards,
Bite
and
force.
even octopus that could communicate and act as doctors.
What?
Most of the Ark's histories and the stories of the people on them have been
Okay, so not only people, they relied on animals, and you just saw what it said on the pig: enhanced agility, stronger bite force, its smell ability has been magnified, and also enhanced, and also intelligence increased. Oh wow!
lost to time.
Oh, so that explains the past videos, like the awakened bears and ravens. So they really have been modifying animals to help out the humans.
Being pieced together by mementos and journal entries, and many sleepers who did arrive have fragmented memories of their past. So a lot of Ark history is unknown. But what is known is that the journey was rough and harsh, and a lot of people did not make it. By the time the Ark ships arrive around the year 18,000, it had been
18,000?
16,000 years since Earth's exodus.
Yeah, that's
It
a
had
huge
been a
time
long
gap.
journey, but they finally found the Centauri cluster and its many habitable
the green
planets.
worlds.
Finding a possible new home, they sent out the Green World signal to remaining Arks, which would summon them to the Centauri cluster. And this marks the beginning of the Dawn Era. Humanity has found a new home. These first ships that arrive slowly colonize the Centauri cluster, and quickly they begin settling interstellar societies and empires. During all of this, new Ark ships from Earth are still arriving after receiving the Green World signal. Unfortunately for those arriving, things have greatly changed, and they are struggling to find their new place in their new home. Over the next 8,000 years, the Centauri cluster evolves and changes, and that brings forth the Remnant Era, which begins around 24,000. This era is defined by the rise and fall of empires and the rapidly changing humans that now call themselves Celestials. The humans that first arrived in the Centauri cluster have now used genetic engineering to alter themselves, becoming different types of transhumans over thousands of years.
So the Celestials are people, but however, they were genetic engineered and they evolved into divergent transhuman species. So it's basically still human against human.
Years. Even their descendants splinter off into dozens of more divergent species. These Celestials, as they are now called, see the still arriving humans on the Ark ships as inferior. They are primitive, backwards, and
see.
lesser than. And when the humans arrive, they find that Celestials have completely dominated the cluster and are fighting for even more control, leaving very little room for the new humans. This fight for power and control results in the formation wars that begin around 28,000. These wars cause massive amounts of damage to the cluster, and hundreds of habitable worlds are completely obliterated. During this violent warring, Ark ships are still arriving, and these new humans are relegated to backwater worlds by the Celestials. Some humans were enslaved or exploited, and very rarely did the Celestials actually help these new humans in this new world. But the difference is clear. Celestials are no longer humans, and their humanity is gone. They are not allies nor friends, and most humans avoid Celestials at all cost. As many habitable worlds, known as Eden worlds, were destroyed during these formation wars, humans try to colonize worlds that are either abandoned or ignored by the Celestials. But often these planets are hostile and dangerous, some even trying to kill anyone who steps foot on the planet itself. Humans fight to find a new home during this time, and
Can
from
they
the
terraform?
destruction of the formation wars, thousands of worlds are destroyed, and billions of lives were lost as the celestial dominions fought for control of the cluster. The cluster itself was almost eradicated from the devastation of the war itself. Entire civilizations were wiped out, and despite all of this, human Ark ships are still arriving. Some Arks find ruins of lost civilizations and empty worlds, and on these planets that have been destroyed by the formation wars,
Wow, that's a cool
they
design.
find ancient ruins. both human and celestial, and these have been long forgotten and abandoned. If they're lucky, they find advanced technology that can be used to help their own human civilizations. But sometimes they find ruins of horror and suffering, and planets only filled with death. 2,000 years after the formation wars begin around the year 30,000, the Elohim, a powerful celestial species, rise to power, and thus the Crucible era begins. The Elohim
Okay, the Elohim rise to prominence. Elohim construct the gates of heaven, an interstellar network linking all the systems of Centauri, heralding in a new age of exploration and trade. Sharing 5,000 years of peace and prosperity. They establish unbreakable laws, including a ban on the destruction of habitable world. Oh, okay. So I guess they're a bit more. I don't. What's the right word? Like, I don't want to say trustworthy. More like agreeable. So the celestial empires rise up to fill the void, expand territory, influence through diplomacy, trade, and military might. So this maybe you could build alliance and peace with them, but just one mistake and it'll turn into a whole war.
Are the most powerful and technologically advanced celestials in the galaxy, and little is still known of them today, as they vanished shortly after their rise. When they were in their position of power, they molded and shaped the entire Centauri cluster, and their influence still remains. Both celestials and humans are bound by the laws of the Elohim. These laws are created after the formation wars to prevent future warring, and are a small collection of fundamental rules, treaties, and agreements. And those across the galaxy fear breaking their laws and fear the consequences. And while the Elohim are known for their involvement in establishing peace, they are most known for their largest contribution to the galaxy, the gates of heaven. These gates are a network
so that's
of
what those are
pathways
called.
linking all of the various systems of the cluster.
So in one of the trailer videos that I watched, when I saw that, I kept on saying it reminds me of like a modified or different design of the Mass Effect relays from Mass Effect games. So those things are called gates of heaven. Okay.
Their gates change the entire cluster itself. Before the gates of heaven existed, interstellar journeys were dangerous, unpredictable, expensive, and inefficient. Travel and trade between systems was very limited and unreliable. And this means that the different celestial dominions were isolated from each other, and they did not communicate amongst one another. This was a major contributing factor in the hostility of the formation wars, and why the gates of heaven changed everything. The gates are bound by the speed of light, but also offer different levels of acceleration and deceleration from light speed. This is what causes time dilation and changes the amount of time passed per each journey through the gates.
And that was mentioned.
The gates of heaven made
felt
travel
like a few
extremely
days, but
easy
a
and
lifetime
accessible.
passed for that main
And
character.
with established charts and navigation through the gates, ships are able to explore space across the cluster. Alongside creating the gates of heaven, the Elohim also use their extremely advanced technology to move hundreds of habitable planets to completely new systems, reforming the entire galaxy itself. The technology to move these planets around was called the Archimedes engine. This engine stabilized orbits, controlled atmospheres,
Archimedes
and
engine.
terraformed barren worlds into new
Is this a
Eden
book?
worlds. The Archimedes engine and its work was a catalyst for a population explosion across the entire cluster, bringing thousands of new habitable worlds for life to flock to. The Celestial Dominion seized the opportunity and wasted no time expanding their empires, creating vast networks of colony worlds. The Archimedes engines were powerful, but with that amount of power, an engine failing can be catastrophic. A world being supported by a failing engine can collapse within a single generation. Entire civilizations can be wiped out almost overnight. And with the creators of the engine gone and unable to repair them, inhabitants of worlds dying due to failing engines meant only one thing: they must abandon their planet. Much had changed within the system, and the Archimedes engine had changed the entire cluster. And alongside this, the Celestials were changing as well. Shortly after the beginning of the Crucible era, and after the Gates of Heaven were created, the newly formed Imperial Celestials a species of celestials that reside in the core of the Centauri cluster, use the gates to explore and expand their species. In 3180,
Pioneer
six
ships?
pioneer ships are dispatched by 6 family houses of the newly formed Imperial Celestials. They settle on the edge of the Poseidon Nebula, and here each major house, Kelawon, Virak, Wynid, Bassa, Nizinsk, and Cheluli, claim their own planetary
The
system.
Crown Dominion.
And together they sign an economic and politic treaty that establishes the Crown Dominion. The rulers of the 6 houses rise to become queens. With
So
the
6
Imperial
queens.
Celestials rising to becoming the now Crown Dominion, power is again changing within the cluster. And these new Crown Celestials are the oldest and fiercest. They are experienced in war, and alongside
Okay, so that's Crown Celestial. Okay, so that's one of the queens. Crown Knights are those Celestials who have chosen war as their preferred skill, sport, and art form. Their attitude toward war is straightforward and fierce. It is, after all, easy enough to extol the virtues of courage against the enemy when you have all the high-tech protections that celestial engineering can gift you with. By the way, all this I don't know why, but this is also kind of giving me a little bit of Destiny, the game Destiny vibes as well. So Mass Effect, Destiny, Star Citizen a little bit, and also I don't know, it's because of the suit designs and everything. Well, because of Star Citizen, but also kind of like, what's that like horror game, Rebirth or something like that? And also Death Stranding because of the environment that was shown in the background during one of the trailers.
their advanced technology and skills from years of warring, they are formidable and dangerous. Each system is ruled by a now and forever queen, and these queens pass their memories and consciousness from queen to queen, and they are essentially immortal. Each new queen inherits the memories, knowledge, and wisdom and experience from all past generations, and through this power and knowledge, they rule with an iron fist.
So physically they can't make it, but mentally they can.
They too, like everyone else in the cluster,
what is
fear
that?
the Elohim, and thus they too abide by the laws established by the now vanished Elohim. Why the Elohim vanished is unknown. Some believe they are pure energy, containing no corporeal shell. Some believe they left the Centauri cluster to explore other parts of the galaxy. And some believe they are still present amongst those remaining in the Centauri cluster, but that they hide their existence from lesser beings with advanced technology. Or maybe they simply went extinct like many other empires. Wherever they are, their laws remain absolute, and those who violate the laws find their ships are no longer able to use the gates of heaven. This is considered the ultimate punishment. These lawbreakers are cut off from the interstellar trade and travel, and the consequences are dire. Economies collapse, scientific advancement is stunted, technology begins to degrade, and resources become scarce. Being cut off from the gates means complete isolation. And while the isolation can last anywhere from a few years to a few centuries, some societies do not survive this isolation. Roughly 5,000 years later, in 35,118, war breaks out in the Crown Dominion, as the now and forever Queen of Kelawon, Zuberi, attempts to evolve Imperial Celestials further. She is met with resistance, and the other 5 queens form an alliance and invade the Kelawon system. Their queen Zuberi is killed, and her entire family is slaughtered, with rumors of only one of her princesses escaping the massacre. This event causes the remaining 5 queens to sign the Imperial Accord, which tightens their governance over the Crown Dominion by establishing the position of Empress. Under this new position, each one of the 5 now and forever queens will rotate serving as Empress, and each Empress will serve for 60 years. The Empress will manage the economic and political policies of the Dominion and be responsible for its defense. Where the once now and forever Queen of Kelawon once resided before her slaughter, now they use as a throne for the Empress. Kelawon's habitable planets, wealth, and resources are distributed among the 5 queens and their houses, and anyone loyal to the fallen Queen Zuberi flees Kelawon. Once peace amongst the queens and Empress is now established, The accord begins a long period of stability within the Crown Dominion, and the Crown Dominion becomes even stronger. The stability of the system remains for quite some time, until the present era of 41,500.
Man, a lot of
Celestial
time
dominions
passes.
are expanding and creating countless new cultures, but their civilizations have begun stagnating, alongside their technological advancements, and this
Green
begins
worlds.
a decline for the celestial dominions. While this is happening, fleets of human arcs from the Exodus era, almost 40,000 years ago, that have been following the Green World signal, begin arriving to the Centauri cluster. The humans on these arcs expect the worlds they were told would be there 24,000 years ago. But
A lot can
instead they are
happen in
met with the
24,000
celestial
years.
dominions and find a world where humans are mistreated and discarded. Humans are not allowed to settle on Dominion worlds, and instead are relegated to find their new homes on war-damaged remnant planets. And this brings the rise of the Aslan dynasty. During the Elohim's reign, they moved several habitable planets across the cluster, including the planet of Lydon, which was once a moon that was placed in close proximity to a gas giant in the Malakbal system. Long-lost human arc fleets arrive in the Malakbal system and establish a colony on the moon of Lydon.
It's the most powerful
This colony is
human-controlled
built
world.
on top of ruins left behind by a long-extinct celestial civilization. They were called the Detoneer.
Okay.
Life here is rough.
Yeah, life here is. But it looks like finally the humans have like a really strong foothold and roots in the cluster. So I guess this is where it starts moving forward. And I'm guessing maybe this is where the story starts to continue, the Exodus, I mean, because when we saw the trailers, it already looked like humans had like a really good, strong foundation and presence in the world that was shown in the videos. So I'm guessing this is where it kind of starts. But man, it only took them like, what, 40,000 years?
And one man, Orion Aslan, sets out to explore the galaxy in hopes of helping Lydon. His first exodus through the gates changed his life and perception of everything. He saw ruins of ancient celestial civilizations.
Oh, that's right. Aslan. Isn't that's the name of that lion from Narnia? Yeah. I was like, why does it sound so familiar? And it just showed that of the lion, and I was like, oh right, there was a movie. Okay, Aslan Dynasty. A talented mercenary named Orion Aslan founded his own mercantile with starship venture soon after traveler starships from other star systems began to arrive on Lydon, a large moon orbiting a gas giant named Galeras.
And saw
This is a lot to
abandoned
take in, by
worlds
the way.
that were both astonishing and horrifying. Through his journeys, he realized how detached the Celestials are from humans and how much disdain they have for the humans that still arrive. When he returned to Lydon after his first mission, he was changed, realizing that the true goal as a traveler is to help humanity survive. Orion Aslan went from a simple mercenary to becoming a legendary traveler. His missions also changed. They became more daring, more treacherous, and more successful. With every new Exodus mission, Orion and his crew went deeper and deeper into uncharted areas of celestial-controlled space. They risked everything to secure critical technology and resources. They even found technological scraps left behind by the Celestials. They repurposed these remnants, reusing them to give themselves a better chance. And Orion's journeys and success.
Wait. The text may be small, so I'm just going to try to read some of it. Include mysterious starships, weapons, platforms, legions of androids, abandoned equipment. Okay, so maybe in the game when you find like remnants, this is where you can start finding new weapons, new ships to into your inventory and things like that. Oh, dominated by such things. And by the way, I don't know if they already mentioned, but they said that they're trying to find like habitable worlds called green worlds to like settle on. But is there a chance that they're able to terraform some worlds that are kind of uninhabitable into habitable? Because I don't know if they mentioned anything about terraforming, or maybe they did and I just missed it. So please put it down in the comments below if you guys happen to know.
Inspired other travelers and traveler dynasties
I said, I'm really new to this.
Join the cause. And while each mission helped humanity, each new mission also provoked the Celestials even more. These missions and their impact
Oh, now
made Orion Aslan a hero. He became pivotal in fortifying humanity's position
I was
against
reading it
the
when it was small,
Celestials.
now they enlarged it.
He also became Lydon's leader. And under his leadership, warring factions reconciled. Failing infrastructure was strengthened. Travelers multiplied in numbers. And because of this, they pushed the boundaries of their expeditions. He then formed the Aslan dynasty, a network of devoted followers who ruled over Lydon in his absences. Through this new dynasty and Orion's Exodus missions, he transformed society and guided its transformation. Throughout all of this, he aged very little.
Gideon Aslan?
And while he didn't age, he did feel the tolls of time delay very little.
Celebrates the birth of his perfect heir, June Aslan. I'm reading the last paragraph. Genetically created with both celestial and human DNA. Okay? Shortly after Orion embarks on his final exodus, never to return, Gideon Aslan, June's half-brother, seizes control of the dynasty and declares himself ruler of Lydon, forcing June, still a mere child, to go into hiding. Hey, man. When there's a power vacuum, suddenly the words family and friends and trust means nothing if you want to seize power.
And while he didn't age, he did feel the tolls of time dilation. Watching his son Gideon grow older and older, and more distant from his absent father. Despite this sacrifice, Orion continued, knowing humanity's survival was more important. All of Lydon looked to him for guidance and salvation, and he was only able to help the people of Lydon because of his missions. He found powers and technology that no human could wield, remnants of lost celestial civilizations that could help humanity. He was using the celestial technology against the Celestials, and he would continue at any cost. Travelers were the pillar of hope for humanity, and they risked a lot to find these remnants. Alongside technology that could be used, they also found nightmares and death. The Apocalypse Titan is one of those discoveries. This massive automated war machine was used to decimate entire planets during the Formation Wars. But after the Formation Wars, these Titans went into hibernation, 15,000 years ago, vanishing beneath the surface of the planets they destroyed. These are a sought-after relic, with travelers wanting to study or even wake a slumbering Titan to use against the Celestials, who used them in their own wars. Alongside Titans, ghosts can be found everywhere across the galaxy. These ghosts are mechanical constructs built by the Celestials to function as servants, laborers, guardians, and soldiers. They were mass-produced and unleashed on enemy worlds. They were not sentient and were easily expendable.
Okay, looks like
And
AI
while
is
they
going to
can
be a part of
remain
this.
dormant for thousands of years, they can also be reawakened.
Androids.
These ghosts are one of the many obstacles travelers face on their journeys.
Okay.
And many travelers die searching for these remnants to use for humanity's advantage. Wanting to use every advantage against the Celestials, travelers also came across silicates on their Exodus missions. Silicates, thought to be the one true alien life form in the Centauri cluster, were symbiotes that transformed the humans who evolved with the silicates. Their egg would hatch when touched by a human, and the bond would awaken. If the humans survived the joining, they would transcend by becoming a new weapon to use against the Celestials. They were called daemons. Their skin would become translucent but impervious. Their musculature would evolve, and their mind would change alongside these physical improvements. But their mind would become darker and more violent. The galaxy is a dangerous place, made more dangerous by the failing Archimedes engine supporting Lydon. A technological virus known as the Rot
another enemy
is slowly degrading Lydon's advanced technology, including all of the critical machinery used to sustain Lydon's life.
So Lydon must
the
be
planetary
is the
engines
place
are
that was
beginning
shown
to
in the
fail,
trailers,
threatening the entire future of Lydon and its civilization. Realizing this threat, Orion Aslan and many other travelers embark on Exodus missions to try to save Lydon in hopes of repairing the engine. In his absence, Gideon, the son that had been slowly drifting apart from his father, seizes the opportunity of Orion's disappearance and takes control of the Aslan dynasty.
Yeah, it was
and then
mentioned in
declares himself
there
ruler
earlier.
of Lydon, forcing June, a mere child and Orion's youngest, to go into hiding.
So that's June?
And this is where June Aslan, Exodus's protagonist, begins their story.
Oh, okay.
Just
so you're gonna be
before
playing
leaving
him.
for his latest exodus, Orion and Ava, someone born of celestial heritage, though we don't know
So
the
she's
exact details
celestial.
just yet, give birth to their perfect genetically created heir, June Aslan, in 2476. Created with both celestial and human DNA, June is supposed to be the bridge between humans and celestials. With June's unique DNA, they are able to access celestial technology through the power of neural induction.
Oh, okay.
As
So
a
that
ro-
explains how he was able to grab that material in the trailer videos that I saw, the gameplay trailer. So if it was just a regular human, it wouldn't have worked, or maybe it would have killed them. But since he has a celestial DNA within him, he's able to harness it and use it. Okay, that explains it. And I'm guessing that that's Ava. So she has, I think it said the mother. From your, wait, from your mother. Oh, Ava's the mother. My bad. So she must be someone else. Your choices will have far-reaching consequences. Oh, so it's one of those games, because Mass Effect also had, like, you know, the dialogue options where you can have Paragon and Renegade, and it goes either way. You can either be good or bad. So if it's something like that in this game as well, that makes it 1,000 times better, in my opinion, because I love those kind of like choices games where you have to make a decision and you can see the consequences of your actions. And that is something I really like. I know some people don't like making those kind of decisions and choices, but that, for me personally, I like doing those.
Access celestial technology through the power of neural induction. As Orion Aslan's heir, and as the only half-human, half-celestial, it is your fate to follow in the footsteps of Orion Aslan, the great traveler. As June, like Orion, you are also
Traveler's
trying to
Creed.
repair the engine and save Lydon.
We sail on the edge of light speed, where time moves differently. As each day goes by, years pass for those who we leave. God, years pass for those we leave behind. Our service, our sacrifice discovers worlds, seeds hope, breaks empires. We are the travelers. Sorry, I butchered that.
June is humanity's last hope, and that is where the story of Exodus begins.
Got it.
June is fully customizable and voiced, and their story will be our first introduction to the world of Exodus. And that is just about everything we know leading up to the game's events. All of this information is from the website and the novel, The Archimedes Engine. And if you're interested in this world
nice
and
design.
learning more about Exodus, make sure to check out the novel and the many short stories up
So
on the
that is
Exodus
a novel.
website. The Archimedes Engine takes place after the events of the game, but it still has really good insight into the game and the Crown Dominion. I highly recommend it. The second book, The Helium Sea,
I gotta check
is
out the
second
website
novel
too.
of the duology, and while we don't have a date for that yet, I'm hoping it comes out sometime in 2025. The world of Exodus is so far being built up to be really, really big. There is a lot of topics that I didn't cover in this video,
Oh, it's probably
just
gonna
because
take
they've
up a lot of
already
storage too
revealed
then.
so much. And they're also coming out with a tabletop
handbook?
RPG book. It's called the Exodus Traveler's Handbook, and I'll link it below if you want more information on that. But it seems like they're really, really investing in this world and making the scale of it really big. So I am so excited.
So am I.
And again,
I
I
really
didn't
am
cover
looking forward to this.
everything that there is because there's already so much. And we don't even have the game in our hands yet. As far as releases, I will be posting this video the morning of the Game Awards. So hopefully by
Commander
the time
Shepard's.
people watch
Oh,
this
so
video,
she's a huge Mass
the
Effect
Game Awards have already
game fan.
happened and there was a new trailer drop. Fingers crossed that Exodus really is coming out in 2025, like I keep expecting. So if you enjoy lore videos, story recaps, character backgrounds, and timeline breakdowns, make sure to subscribe for more. Thank you to my channel subscribers, thank you to my Patreon members, thank you all so much for your support, and see you next time.
That was a really great video. So shout out and credit goes to Kala, Elizabeth. She did a great job explaining this. And yeah, it looks like she is a huge Mass Effect fan like me, because it looks like her member title are Commander Shepard's. And on top of that, she kept on playing the Mass Effect music in the background as well. So this explains a lot. How we went from the the destruction of Earth, and now only the wealthy and those who can contribute go on arcs to find more green worlds, habitable worlds, and to like settle on. But then humans evolved, turned into celestials, so now it's a war against evolved humans. But now it took like 40,000 years to make a strong foothold onto Leiden, and basically now a protagonist, because I thought the protagonist was that guy that was shown in the reveal trailers, but I guess not. Maybe he's just one of the lead side characters that can like really help you out. But either way, this explained a lot, and she did mention a website, so I'm going to be checking that website out as well. So this was really great, and I really enjoyed it. I do have one more video from her, and that's going to be another one, and it talks about a major update. So I'm maybe looking into that too, or maybe I'll just check out the website and see what what kind of information is going to be explained from there. So that's all I got for today. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that notification bell so you know when to drop more videos. And also shout out to all my members, subscribers, viewers. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I really do appreciate it. So without anything else, I'll see you guys next time.